Let's get started with our first news. Khamzat Chimaev is not bothered by DDP's trash talk. Over the course of his reign, Duplexi has built a reputation for pulling out all the stops during press conferences, verbally attacking opponents with ruthless one-liners designed to get inside their heads. But ahead of Khamzat's highly anticipated fight with the champion on the UFC 319 card this weekend, Borz has made it absolutely clear that no amount of verbal jabs or mental warfare is going to shake him. Speaking to the media on Wednesday, Khamzat, who had been spotted earlier in the week absolutely unloading on the heavy bag, was calm, composed, and laser-focused on what he considers the only thing that matters: stepping into the octagon, beating the champion, collecting his paycheck, and going home. The trash talk, completely irrelevant in his eyes. All the fighters talk, but nothing is going to change here. Everyone has to fight in the cage anyway, so whatever he says, I don't care about. I came here to beat him up, take my money, and go home. Khamzat stated firmly. The words carried a quiet confidence that made it clear his focus was unshakable. Now, while Khamzat is known for starting fast and overwhelming opponents with relentless pressure right out of the gate, DDP has his own plan. The South African champion has made it clear that he's ready to meet Khamzat head-on. When he fought Robert Whittaker, DDP didn't slow down or change his game plan despite it being a 5-round fight. That, according to analysts, suggests he may be approaching UFC 319 with the same mindset, perhaps underestimating the toll of going hard for the full championship distance. Khamzat, however, thinks that kind of thinking could be a mistake. 5 rounds is a long time, he said with a smirk. Let's go full speed and see who quits. The statement felt less like a prediction and more like a challenge, almost daring DP to test his cardio and durability against Borz's suffocating pace. Fight Week has already provided fans with plenty of entertaining moments, but one in particular went viral almost instantly. Khamzat effortlessly lifting DC, yes, the former double champ Daniel Cormier clean off the ground. The clip exploded across social media with fans laughing at how casual the moment looked. Later, Khamzat addressed the playful encounter. "We were just joking, you know. He's a great wrestler, great fighter, so always when I meet him, he's a good guy. Great man, you know," he said with genuine respect in his voice. The pair later sat down together for a segment on DC's YouTube channel, where the moment came up again. At one point, DC joked about being lifted into the air. "I'm not a child, my legs spin," he laughed, clearly still amused by how easily Khamzat had picked him up. Without missing a beat, Khamzat fired back, "It looks cute, brother," before both burst out laughing. Whether DC will try to get his revenge with a surprise takedown before fight night remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the energy, tension, and playful banter surrounding UFC 319 are only adding more fuel to what's already shaping up to be a spectacular showdown. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we'd truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now moving on to our second news, Islam Makhachev's body transformation ahead of his anticipated move to the welterweight division. The former pound-for-pound king, who has already dominated the lightweight category, is now setting his sights on a new challenge. Recently, fresh footage surfaced online showing Islam looking absolutely massive, and fans could not help but react. This transformation was nothing short of shocking for many who have been following his career closely. In the clip, Islam appears noticeably bulkier, with broader shoulders, a thicker frame, and an overall more powerful build compared to his lightweight days. The change is especially striking because Makhachev has always been known for his calculated and technical style, not necessarily for being the biggest or most physically imposing fighter, but now it's clear that he's putting serious work into preparing his body for the bigger men of the 70-pound division. Fans immediately took to social media to share their thoughts. One user wrote, "He looks way healthier at welterweight. This is his natural weight class." Another added, "He's exceptionally God-gifted. The ability to bulk up while still maintaining elite-level skills, paired with the renowned athletic Dagestani genetics, it's over for the welterweight division." The hype didn't stop there. Another fan predicted, "It seems like he'll actually be bigger than Jack Della Maddalena at fight night, which is insane if you think about it." One joked, "Brother, share his diet plan so the rest of us can transform like this. And in classic MMA fan fashion, another simply commented, JM is referencing a running meme in the community. Of course, not every comment was full of praise. There were a few skeptics in the mix, as one fan replied bluntly, on the secret juice, implying that such a transformation seemed too good to be natural. While that kind of speculation is common whenever a fighter makes a dramatic physical change, it's worth noting that Islam has always been adamant about his discipline, clean training and diet-focused approach to performance. So far, there has been no official announcement from the UFC about his welterweight debut. However, the expectation among insiders and fans alike is that Makhachev will face Jack Della Maddalena later this year. The rumored date? November at the legendary Madison Square Garden in New York City, a venue that has hosted some of the most iconic fights in UFC history. If this matchup becomes official, it will be one of the most talked about fights of the year. Jack Della Maddalena has been carving his own path as a dangerous contender in the welterweight division, showcasing crisp boxing, dangerous combinations, and a fearless approach in every bout. But facing Islam, a fighter with elite wrestling, suffocating control, and now a much bigger and stronger frame, could be a completely different challenge. Whether fans believe the transformation is all natural or not, one thing is certain: Islam Makhachev is sending a clear message. He's not just moving up in weight, he's moving up with serious intent to dominate. If the rumors are true, November could be the night the welterweight division gets a very rude awakening. Next up, Henry Cejudo reacts to the Paramount deal. The former double champ believes the UFC and MMA as a whole could be on the verge of becoming the greatest sport in the world thanks to a blockbuster new partnership. The deal in question is a massive 7-year agreement valued at more than the total worth of the very company making the investment. Speaking on his YouTube show with Kamaru Usman, Cejudo broke down the numbers in disbelief. Think about it, Kamaru. 7.7 billion. Bro, I don't even think about it. Paramount is worth 6.9. You wonder if there's something behind that they're willing to invest into the UFC. Cejudo said. To him, the logic is simple. Paramount sees something huge coming for the UFC, something worth betting billions on. This isn't just a standard broadcasting deal, it's a signal that the sport's growth potential is off the charts. I mean, Paramount gets it. I do believe that the UFC will become the greatest sport in the world. I didn't believe it at first, Dana always thought it, but man, the trajectory that the sport is going, it's insane, he continued. Cejudo pointed to one clear indicator: the sport's expanding global reach. Think about it, Kamaru. There is no male American champion in the US right now. When has there not been a champion coming out of the US? What does that tell you? The world is just worldwide, dude. And he's not wrong. The UFC's current roster of champions spans multiple continents, from Africa to South America, from Europe to Oceania. That global diversity is exactly what makes MMA different from most major sports. There's no single home base for dominance anymore, and that makes the competition even more compelling. For Cejudo, this is exactly why the Paramount deal could accelerate MMA's rise. The UFC isn't tied to a single country's fan base. It's a product with appeal in nearly every market on the planet, from stadiums in Brazil and arenas in Abu Dhabi, to fight nights in Australia and massive cards in Las Vegas. The UFC has proven that it can sell out venues and draw TV numbers almost anywhere. This deal also comes at a time when UFC's brand power is arguably stronger than ever. Stars like Israel Adesanya, Sean O'Malley, Alex Pereira, and Khamzat Chimaev are crossing into mainstream awareness. Social media clips from UFC events now rack up tens of millions of views in hours, creating viral moments that spread far beyond traditional fight fans. For Cejudo, that momentum is undeniable. Dana said it from the beginning: UFC will be bigger than the NFL, bigger than soccer. I used to laugh at that. But now, man, I see it. This deal is proof. They're betting big because they know what's coming, Cejudo said. 7 years at $7.7 billion, and a sport that's growing faster than almost any other. If Cejudo's prediction is right, we might be watching the UFC transform from a combat sports powerhouse into the biggest sport on earth. Now moving on to another headline, Arman MMA says he is a better striker than Ilia Topuria. After serving as the backup fighter at UFC 317, Tsarukyan has remained in the spotlight, but not necessarily for reasons he might have hoped. While his willingness to step in on short notice impressed many fans, UFC President Dana White hinted that the surging lightweight contender still has a bit of work to do before fully regaining the promotion's trust and locking in a title fight. With no clear #1 contender currently set at featherweight, Tsarukyan has decided to make his case publicly and aggressively. Lately, that's meant aiming some verbal jabs directly at reigning champion El Matador, Ilia Topuria. During a recent appearance on the Jackson podcast, Arman didn't mince words. He went as far as to declare himself a better all-around striker than the undefeated Spanish-Georgian star. "You gotta give me this fight because I'm the next UFC champion. It's my belt," Tsarukyan said confidently. When asked if Topuria truly has the special skill set that many claim, Arman doubled down. "He has just one special thing, it's boxing. That's all. My man, even the striking, I'm better than him for sure, because my kicks, my elbows, my knees, they all work, always. He just has good boxing, and I can wrestle as well. I just can't wait to show everybody my level because I've been proving myself every day and working hard." It's not the first time Tsarukyan has shown supreme confidence in his skill set. Known for his relentless pace, technical wrestling, and growing striking arsenal, Arman has positioned himself as one of the most dangerous contenders at 55, and now he's signaling he's ready to take over at 145 too. Meanwhile, Topuria seems entirely unbothered. Rather than engage in back-and-forth trash talk, the champ has been enjoying some well-deserved downtime. In a recent social media post, Ilia shared a collection of photos and videos from a family vacation, captioned simply "enjoying with my people, no call-outs, no counter jabs, just time with loved ones." Still, Tsarukyan's intentions are crystal clear. If he gets the next crack at the belt, his plan is already set in stone. Defeat Topuria, then hold the title until Islam Makhachev returns to lightweight. "I want to defend as much as possible. I want to be the greatest fighter in the world, because I know how I work, how I dedicate myself to this sport. I love it so much and I give myself to it. It's gonna pay off. I'll be waiting for Islam at 155, Arman declared. Of course, there's a big if in that plan. If Makhachev defeats Jack Della Maddalena in his potential welterweight debut, there's a chance he may never return to 25 pounds. That would leave Tsarukyan without the revenge fight he's been chasing since his UFC debut loss to Islam back in 2019. But if there's one thing Arman Tsarukyan thrives on, it's challenges. Whether that means taking the featherweight crown from Topuria, defending it against all comers, or moving back to lightweight for a blockbuster grudge match, he's made one thing clear: he's ready to prove his greatness to the world. Next, Usman and Cejudo argue over Duplexi versus Chamayv wrestling. Kamaru Usman has made his final predictions for UFC 319, but what started as a straightforward pick quickly turned into a heated debate with Henry Cejudo. The two former champions sat down to discuss the highly anticipated main event between Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, and let's just say they weren't exactly on the same page. Cejudo is siding with the reigning champ Duplexi, citing his grit, adaptability, and ability to perform under the brightest lights. But Usman isn't having it. He's firmly in the Chamayv camp, and he came armed with evidence to back his stance. In Usman's eyes, Duplessis has not faced a true elite-level wrestler in years, and that's going to be a massive problem against someone with Khamzat's relentless pace. Usman pointed out that the last time Duplessis fought a genuine wrestling threat was back in his bout with Derek Brunson, and while Duplessis ultimately won, Usman believes that fight revealed some cracks in the South African's armor. "We saw how that fight was looking," Usman said. "Brad Tavares even took him down, and Brad's not a wrestler in any form at all. Brad is a striker. The last time he really wrestled was Derek Brunson, and we saw how that looked in the first couple of rounds. Derek just eventually gassed out. I think Khamzat might go out there and get it done." From Usman's perspective, stepping into the octagon against Chamayv's suffocating grappling and unrelenting forward pressure is an entirely different beast. He's not just picking Khamzat to win, he's predicting a first-round finish. The Ceudo, however, pushed back. The Olympic gold medalist argued that Duplessis' unconventional style and proven cardio in 5-round fights could frustrate Chamayv, especially if the challenger comes out too aggressive and burns energy early. Cejudo reminded Usman that DTP has shown the ability to adapt mid-fight, switching between striking and grappling seamlessly depending on what's needed. The conversation quickly escalated from a friendly prediction segment to something resembling a face-off of its own, with both men speaking passionately about their chosen fighter's strengths. Usman, still unconvinced, doubled down on his belief that Chamayv has all the tools to not only win but to become the UFC's next global superstar. He compared the hype surrounding Boards to the waves made by Ilia Topuria and other generational talents who burst onto the scene and instantly captured fan attention. If you look at the landscape right now, it's almost like every so often we get a new generation of guys who just come in and become the superstars of the game, Usman said. By the end of the exchange, neither man had budged from their position, but in the process they'd added even more fuel to an already fiery main event. If the intensity between Usman and Cejudo is anything like what we'll see between Duplexi and Chamayv on Saturday night, UFC 319 might deliver one of the most explosive fights of the year. Finally, there's a positive update on Conor McGregor's long-awaited return to the Octagon. During a recent appearance on Pardon My Take, UFC President Dana White shared some encouraging news about McGregor's potential comeback and the possibility of him making that return at the much-talked-about White House event. According to White, Conor is now taking his comeback more seriously than he has in a long time. If he can truly dedicate himself to getting back into peak shape and avoid slipping into his old bad habits, there's a very real chance fans could see him fighting again in the near future. For McGregor fans, this is the first real sign of optimism in a while. The former two-division champion has been out of action since suffering that devastating leg injury in his trilogy bout against Dustin Poirier in July 2021. Since then, his return timeline has been filled with uncertainty, delays, and speculation fueled by both his outspoken nature and a string of distractions outside the cage. Now, with Dana White openly discussing his possible participation in such a high-profile event, the buzz is picking up again. If McGregor can genuinely commit to the intense training required, maintain focus, and avoid the pitfalls that have stalled his comeback in the past, this could set the stage for one of the most anticipated returns in UFC history. Whether or not it actually happens will depend on the next few months, but for the first time in a long time, there's a sense that the Notorious might truly be on the road back.